Not only is he one of the most respected and recognized stand-up comedians in South Africa, he comes with almost 3 decades of experience. Hard to top that, right? But what makes him a world-class act is that he writes his own material and does a brand new one-man show every year. He's particularly great at poking fun at certain governments, providing for many laughs out loud moments. He has a humor with an exceptional taste, well equipped, and states that the motive for his ludicrous conduct is, he quotes in saying, it is easier to look at the other side of things that don't have another side. And if they don't have one, then invent one. I'm excited because he's joining us. He's a legend in the space. As comedy has grown over the years, he is a pioneer in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mark Banks.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Hello.
I'm good. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Who wrote that? Where did you get that? Was that off the net?
This is from your website.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah, markbanks.co.za.
I didn't know I had a website. But
Yeah,
it's all happening. It is happening.
Look at how good looking you are.
Oh, my goodness.
You look better in real life.
Thank you.
But
Thank
you are
very
good
much.
looking here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is from your website. Do you want them to update it?
No, don't.
Okay.
It's all rubbish.
Have they forgotten anything?
No. They've left. No, they don't.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's
Great
talk-
to meet you.
I'm humbled to meet you.
I've been stalking you. Or trolling. Is it trolling? What's it when you follow people and you don't look? But I read. It's like Facebook. I don't have it, but I look
Yeah, just to
to
check.
see who's saying what and who's.
I get you.
Yes, you do that.
I get you. Not really. I'm everywhere except for Twitter. My Twitter was hacked last year.
Oh no, I don't know Twitter. I'm too scared. My last tweet was 2011, I think.
That's when I started Twitter.
I tweeted. I'm very nervous now because Elon Musk he's bought it. He bought it for 44 million. He's going to change it, and now you get AI where you can be on Twitter, but it's not you. They can recreate artificial intelligence. They can recreate you. They can put your face on, and you can be talking, saying.
Okay.
It's terrifying.
I've just heard him say they want to find different ways to monetize it, and one of those ways is obviously charging for the blue checks.
Yes, and he's changing it to a dog, and if you hold it upside down, it's actually the pyramids, and if you hold it sideways, you can see who killed JF Kennedy.
I know. I didn't hear about
Public
that.
conspiracy.
Well, I don't know.
The
Okay.
Titanic hit the iceberg because they were busy twittering. They were on Twitter.
No, there was no Twitter at the
They
time.
weren't looking at the.
There was no
No,
Twitter.
there was. They had Twitter.
And what's the conspiracy theory around the Titanic?
They swapped the ships. They swapped it with the sister ship, which was identical.
And I heard that the biggest bankers at the time
Yes, that's
made
right.
it on the ship.
Yes, they
And
invited them all onto the ship.
Yeah.
They got them all onto the ship because they wanted to change the banking system of America, the Federal Reserve Bank. So they invited the richest people in America onto the ship, and it sank with them all on it.
And apparently before it left, one of them actually got out.
The man who invited them
Yeah.
all. Yes, very good.
So
you're onto
he
that.
knew.
That's right. And he actually ended up shooting JF Kennedy in Dallas years later.
How true is that?
No, it's not true. It's not true at all.
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories. I do like them, but I think a lot. But the thing of all the bankers being invited on, that is true.
And I think something similar is going on in the world right now.
Something's going on right now.
Because we're about to get into a new, different, financial system.
Yes, and it doesn't exist. It's all in the cloud, and it's Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and we're going to have barcoding,
Mark of the beast.
the mark of the beast.
And
Somebody told me a Zulu king a few years ago. I was very, very nervous. I did a Zulu wedding. Can I say that? Can I say Zulu wedding? I was invited to a Zulu wedding.
it was a wedding. You were invited.
I was
to a wedding.
invited to a wedding, but
Yeah.
it was in rural KZN.
Yeah.
And a Zulu king, he actually said to me, "Is there anything you want to know about Zulu? Anything?" And I was very nervous. I didn't want to, put my foot wrong and ask questions like, "What's that?" or I was sort of, I was all protocols observed, and I wasn't sitting higher than he was, and I was distance and all. But I was very nervous he asked that, and I said, actually, the markings that a lot of people have on their faces. He said,
Ugucaba.
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 GCA. Ca.
Ugucaba.
Caba, yeah.
Ugucaba. Is that right?
Ugucaba.
Ugucaba.
Not with the X, but with the C. GC. Uktaba, yeah.
Uktaba.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, he said, and I said, what is it religious? Is it custom? And he was joking, but I didn't know. He said it's barcode. It's how we have barcode. And I said, for why? He said, for when we go to heaven. When we go through the gates, as we go through, beep, beep, and each person has a different coding. And I thought he was being serious, and he was joking.
It's a joke, yeah. And that's what I
But
wanted.
I didn't want to laugh. I didn't know whether.
Of
and I
course,
went,
because you can't laugh.
oh,
Right?
and it was when he said, and the Indians, they've got the red dot. When they go through, you hit ding. And then I realized he was joking, which was great sort of send up of how dare you ask anything of anyone? You know, why? What is that? Why do you have a ring on your finger? Why have you got that?
Which leads me to my question. How do you know who to offend? How do you know which boundaries not to cross? Because we've got so many different communities now. It's 2023. Comedy industry is different from how it was 20 years ago. I'm a radio person as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that we got away with back in the day that
Yes.
I can't say today.
Yes.
How do you draw the line as a comedian?
It's terrifying. It really, really is, because it is comedy, as you know, is the new rock and roll. There are more comedians now than there are rock and roll artists. There are more comedians than DJs.
Even with
if
DJs,
that's possible.
there's more DJs than.
It's terrifying. You almost need, you know, those books you get where you can see what bird is that, and you look through to see if you can see which bird identification. We'll be bringing that out for comedians soon. There's so many. There's like 3,500 comedians, and you just hear them, ah, wee, ah, and you think, oh, there it is, and you go through your identification book, and there it is, it's Bongani Dube. There it is. It's a young juvenile Bongani Dube, and that's what the mother looks like, and it's terrifying.
And you've seen it evolve.
I've seen it evolve. I've seen it grow. Well, it was primarily a white occupation comedy. It was like seen as a whitey thing. And then when it started growing, because it was all jokes. It was people who told jokes in bars and pubs. There's Englishmen, Irishmen, and a Scotsman. They go into a bar. Those sort of jokes, the bar jokes, and the why did the chicken cross the road? And then it started growing. Other people started doing it. With the new dispensation that came, how many years have we now? 29 years?
Yeah, almost 30.
Almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. Gogo still doesn't have water. Hey, isn't that amazing? She still doesn't have water. She's still living with an RDP house, which is falling, and nothing has happened. Nothing. So there's great anger growing. So, and with the comedy, I think it's a great place to stand and scream and shout about the current state of affairs, which you can do now. For everybody right across the board. The corruption, the crime, the day-to-day living, the ridiculousness of South Africa. I mean, we live in a country where in prison you can actually get 3 corpses brought into the prison and burn one in your cell, feign your death, drive to Tanzania and fly back in a 1.4 million rand chartered jet, all in the space of 3 days. And nothing happens.
That's where we are now. We can have an entire state capture commission and have a billion rands of taxpayers' money spent on it, and not a single arrest.
Nothing has happened, has it? Nothing.
Not a single prosecution.
And they've found a translator for Zondo, for Judge Zondo. That's the Zondo, the Radio Zondo. So that and now that's it. It's all just left now. And then all the files will be burnt, and then nothing will happen, and we carry it. So there's a lot to scream and shout about.
Firstly, let's start with what you just spoke about, cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency.
And how the financial system is moving that direction. How do you think politicians are going to now receive their bribes?
It'll be in the cloud. It'll all go into the cloud. It'll all be... It's easier to do now because you can do it on a cell phone now. You don't need to go into buildings. You don't need to have whistleblowers and you can do it all. It'll all be done on IT.
Won't it be more difficult?
More difficult to trace them, to find them. It can be done from a cave in Neisner, where they've got the boat and they do illegal imports.
So you're saying it's going to be easier for them to get their bribes now than it was before?
Yes, much easier.
Are you serious?
And far more difficult to trace. Yeah, and it'll all be done through international offshore havens in the Cayman Islands, in Burundi, anywhere, and probably here, probably done in the photostatic room of the Union buildings. The Guptas now. They now live in Vanuatu or something. They've left.
I don't know where they stay.
They've left the United Arab Emirates. Apparently, nothing happened to them. They just.
I've been hearing Interpol. I think South Africa has been communicating with Interpol, try and get them back into the country.
We tried to get them extradited, and apparently, the submission that we put in, Shamila Batoyi, who for 5 years has done nothing, absolutely nothing at all, nothing. Case. Oh no, I think there was a stolen bicycle case. The case of the stolen bicycle. She did that one. The bicycle hijacking. That was quite a big one. That was done in Motherwell, in Port Elizabeth. But when they did the representation to the UAE, United Emirates, to get them back, it was pathetic. It was absolutely ridiculous. So that all went by the wayside. So they're not going to be extradited. They're not going to come back. So we have to stay here. We are stuck here. We're not going to be able to leave here. You do know that. So we have to stay. So the only thing we can do is expose it. Just bring it up. Bring it out. Thank goodness with electronic media, the way it's gone, we are able to expose things. We're able to get people talking. We are able to bring things out. People don't read newspapers anymore. Everything is on instant. What's the news on? What's on Facebook, Instagram? So it's all instant. And comedy's instant. Comedy is made up on that. A lot of comedians, as I'm sure you've seen yourself, when they do work, they've done news and things that have happened that day. It's not like this is my act that I do and this is what I'll be doing for the next 6 months. It's instant.
And what type of a comedian you have to be when it's that instant?
You have to be in the know. You have to know how to take on the lion when it's been let out the cage and it's sitting in front of you, because the audience is your judge, jury, and execution. If the audience don't like you, you're off. That's it. They don't sit and go, oh, well, it's not so good. We'll wait for the next one. You're off. The audience join in. They become very, very verbal, very militant. And with the woke society that's happened now, where you can't say male or female, you can't talk about men and women, you can't talk about colour, race, creed, politics, religion. That's another big thing. There's a big religious swing that's come out as well. So you've got to be very careful there. So you end up talking about issues, but you have to colour it differently and say, isn't it funny that that there's a war on waste, there's a war on pollution, there's a war on the environment, but there's never been a war on homelessness. Isn't that amazing? Hey, isn't that strange? Because there's no money in it. That's why. If politicians started making more money out the homeless, that would all end tomorrow, wouldn't it? We wouldn't see it anymore. They spend more time cleaning oil off a penguin than cleaning a street child. Isn't that amazing? Unbelievable. So maybe if the street children got covered in oil, maybe they get bathed and get a full meal and housing. I think. I don't know. How do you find it's going these days?
So it's more tougher now to be a comedian than it was before.
Yes. I think a comedian is a natural born warrior now. I really do. I go and see youngsters and comedy, the performers have become younger, much, much younger. Than they used to be. Comedy used to be sort of like 35 plus to get into the comedy ranks where some of them have been in the game for like 6 months and they're cutting it and they're on the money and they've got the sus, they know what they're talking about, and they challenge anyone who takes them on in the audience. If they take them on, they take the audience on, which is sort of it's almost like comedy warfare, sort of comedy games. It's like, are you ready? And our next comedian is going to talk on. And then there's some comedians who are just naturally funny. They can talk about anything. they get the audience going. They don't touch politics. They don't go near anything that can. They just, it's 10-pin bowling. They just go in and slam the audience before the audience can think about anything.
But you go crazy on government.
Sometimes they do. But also people are bored with politics as well.
Yeah.
They're just so bored of hearing about all the corruption and who got what. They just know it's just a given that, the money's going to just disappear. When COVID was still around, do you remember that scam? When COVID was around.
So you agree COVID was a scam?
Yes, I think it was. I personally think it
Why
was.
do you
But then I'm a conspiracy theorist. Why
do you think so?
Money, moving money, and showing that we have the power and control, and we have control. This is how it will work. Because it all started off very gently. It all started off, this we will be doing for 21 days. For 21 days, we're all going to stay indoors, and we're going to wear our mask. And then at the end of 21 days, you remember?
I remember. We all thought it was the 21-day thing.
Yes. 21. So I got the triple barrel Kentucky 21 piece. So I had 63 pieces. And where I go at the drive-thru, I sometimes get extra pieces because I sometimes give some of the staff a lift home at night. So I actually had 77 pieces. So I thought 21 days, 77 pieces. Now and then I'll have to, give a piece away because people smell Kentucky. Very difficult to hide the smell of Kentucky. You can't deep freeze it. Very tricky. So I keep it in the boot of the car. So I thought 77 pieces, 21 days, 3 pieces a day, give one. And then at the end of 21 days, they said, well, it's over, but we still have to just make sure that it's over. Look, it's getting worse. It was just slowly into the lion's den. Oh, here, no, he's just gone down there a little bit further. So lots of money was exchanged all around the world, and control where they kept people. We can keep people indoors from whatever the hours were, 9 to 5, and then we couldn't go out at all. Couldn't move from province to province. Do you remember that? You weren't allowed to travel. You couldn't travel. You had the mask on, and that was people wearing masks in cars. I didn't understand that.
Driving alone. I remember that.
Driving alone in a car with a mask on and the windows shut. That was just like, and people were going manic, hey? People were getting really serious. And then Fikile Mbalula, he was the one who told us that, no, you can fly because the air conditioning of the airplane sucks it all out. It takes it.
I remember
that. Do you remember that?
I remember it.
Fikile Mbalula.
Minister Fikile Mbalula.
Minister Fikile Mbalula. He's Secretary General now, hey?
Yeah.
He's Secretary General. Because I thought it was a condition of Mbalula. I thought Mbalula is when you get those terrible pains in your back. It's not Mbalula, that's lumbago, which is Mbalula backwards. So if you're dyslexic and you have lumbago, it's Mbalula. And they just, the control became worse as it went on. When we got to month 3, you weren't allowed to travel. Anyone in the house you thought had it, you had to isolate them. People were isolating in their home. So that was control. You couldn't fly. You couldn't move from province to province. All of that. So that was a test for the big one that's coming. There's a big one that comes next year. That's the big one.
So that was just a showing shortly. The main movie is still coming.
The main movie is still coming.
And what do you think is going to happen?
Well, they intimated one that they discovered the other day, 2 or 3 months ago, called monkeypox. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Monkeypox is one you just got in the air. It just attacked you where you were. It's just too frightening. So it's control and money, and we've got you. And of course, apparently COVID came from, was it Wuhan?
Wuhan
in China.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the 6 jumbo jets leaving, SAA jets. We had aeroplanes then. We had planes. We had trains. We had post. All gone. We got nothing.
We had electricity.
We had electricity. Do you remember that?
I remember.
And water. We had and 24-hour water. It was incredible. And we were so unhappy when we had all that. And that came from Wuhan. Something I heard the other day, TJ, you might like like this, is, or do they just call you Spoo?
Either or.
Your pronoun is DJ. So you never know whether you're going to get a man or a woman when you hear DJ. Do you? When you hear that. And sometimes, as in comedy, a lot of women who've got men's names get work because people think it's a man. So it's like DJ Joe. And, you know, a lot of women are called Joe.
It's like trying to purchase property in George around Neisner.
Yes.
If I've got a white surname, it's easier. But if I've got an African surname, it's just almost impossible to get property there.
Really? That obvious, that blatant. Oh my goodness. In Neisner and George.
Neisner,
is that
George.
where you say? Is that where you're going to?
No,
is that
I
where
was
you're moving
trying to
to?
purchase property.
Because I've been trying to follow where you're going to next. Because there's a lot of websites with what you're going to do next on.
And sorry, I disturbed you. You're driving to
now you are going down to George to Neisner.
No.
Because there's a port there. You can get into the lagoon.
Yeah. So I hear.
Yeah. We'll talk later. But
It's a Lani place.
nah, it's all right.
It's for rich people.
Ish, yeah. But it's a different neck of the woods. You're on the coast. It's called the Garden Route. I don't know why.
Garden Route, yeah.
I don't know why it's called Garden Route because there's no garden along there. It's and then there's an airport as well in George, and the lagoon is handy. So you can go by boat out, rubber ducky. I don't know what the evacuation plan is for South Africa when we're all driven down to the end of Africa with whatever this new disease is that's going to start killing us next year. But when it was in Wuhan that the COVID started?
Yeah. And because everybody, I think Bill Gates was in on it.
Yep.
Anthony Fauci
Yep.
in on it as well.
Yes.
CDC in America.
And this man phoning now, mate, was he in? Did he say,
I don't
We've
know.
given. We've given.
I'll call them back. It's okay.
Something I heard the other day is that, do you know bubble wrap?
Yeah, I know bubble wrap. Yeah.
Don't you hate those people who pop it? Do you have?
I'm one of them.
Are you a popper?
No, well, I'm a bubble wrap.
Do you just
popper.
bubble? Do you click pens? Do you click pens as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big. But I seldom ever use pens.
We're not going on the cruise. We're not going on the cruise. But something I
We're
heard.
not going on a cruise. I used to give away cruise ships on my TV game show, Friends Like These. We're not going on a cruise.
Seriously.
It's okay.
Because you know, if they do win the cruise, do you know that they have to go? Hey, the van comes and fetches them, even if they win it, and they think, oh, it's very nice, but we don't want to. They come and fetch them, and they make them go on the cruise. They force them. I've seen people dragged screaming onto the boat. I said, what happened? Are these? No, they won it, and they didn't want to go, and they've made them go on the cruise. It's quite frightening. Be very careful there. If you win a cruise, you have to go.
Even if you get seasick, you have to go.
You have to go.
And it's not a nice feeling at all, guys. In the middle of the ocean, to start getting seasick.
Have you been on those cruises?
Yes,
Did you
of
go on
course.
it?
And they used to ask me a lot, do you go in those cruises? Yes. I went to multiple.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And I was young at the time, so I wasn't married. So I'd love it every time on every show when the ladies win.
Oh, God. No.
Because when we go on a cruise at the end of the year, and it's all the winners from the whole year.
Oh.
It's just a whole gang of us.
And you're all stuck together.
not stuck together. It's a big ship.
I know it's a big ship, and they're
Those
getting bigger.
Those MSCs.
They're huge. They now go 15 stories. It's like Cresta. It's like Cresta Shopping Centre at sea. It's 15 stories.
Yeah.
You go from the 15th floor to the -2 to go. Oh,
And there's everything for days. There's parties in there, nightclub in there, everything.
and the most expensive drinks in the world. It's quite frightening. There's
prime.
no Wi-Fi, and you're stuck with everybody. Some people like it, but be very careful when you pop the bubble wrap. When you pop bubble wrap, because you know that 75% of bubble wrap in the world is made in Wuhan. Some of it, some of it goes back like 4 or 5 years ago. Cause it's like old bubble wrap. It's been in the warehouse. It's been in storage. So the air in the bubbles is from Wuhan. So when you're popping the bubbles, you be very careful, because if there was a virus, they could be getting it around the world
Through bubble wrap.
through bubble wrap.
And people like me, poppers, would be the ones that are spreading it.
There we go. Because I've often given big sheets of bubble wrap to people who pop bubbles, who pop it. I give them a big sheet, and then I say, "Here's more. There's more for you." And after about half an hour, I hear them. I said, "No, pop more," and they carry on, and then they're eventually just sort of going out, and then they're in a coma for about 3-4 hours. And then when I see them the next day, they say, "I need more bubble wrap. I need more." They're addicted to it now. So we've got to go out finding, a bubble wrap dealer where
That's
we
how
can get.
Fauci got us.
Yep, that's how Fauci got us.
Stockholm syndrome, and we just want more.
We just want more. Yeah, and then people attacking each other. People attacking people because they didn't have a mask on. Did you see all that? People screaming and going
Yeah, and people
mad.
calling other people anti-vaxxers and vaxxers. Did you take the vax?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to answer that on
Yeah,
camera?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yes, of course.
Take the booster?
Yep.
Double booster?
Double booster 4-door. The double booster 4-door. I got it at We Buy Cars for a song.
The dome?
The Dome. That's where they are now. We Buy Cars. Cars. They don't sell cars there. It's cheese. They've got cheese. It's a Dutch Afrikaans cheese company that you can take cheese there and they buy it. Seriously. It's called We Buy Cars. And they... And you,
Sorry.
didn't you know that it's not a car thing?
I didn't know.
I thought it was. It's cheese. It's a Dutch. We Buy Cars. And they've got cars there made out of cheese. They've got the four-door. They've got the new GTI Gouda. That's the fastest one they've got if you drive it.
Not the Verpa.
Gouda.
I thought the Verpa was the fastest one.
Gouda. No, the
Oh,
Alfetta.
Gouda
cheese.
Okay.
Gouda cheese. That's the 2-door, and then they've got the Alfetta. That's quite a nice one. That's the hatchback that they've got. Then you Gorgonzola 0 to 50 in 3 seconds. No, I had the booster. I had all the shots. Well, I've got the certificates for it.
So you were able to travel?
Yes, no, I had to get it to travel.
Never been quarantined anywhere?
I've been quarantined for everything, absolutely everything. I got rabies last year, funnily enough, from a doorknob in a clinic. I was going for because you must never touch anything on an aeroplane. Don't ever touch anything on an aeroplane or in a hospital, especially the door handles and things. Because medically, I'm always very scared of what's new. And now we have a system where our medical aids now that they have their own bank. Your medical aid cover, like Discovery. Do you know that they have a bank? They're a bank as well.
Yeah.
So I don't have any medical aid cover for anything because I believe if you've got it, you're going to use it. So if you don't have it, don't use it, then you die. You save a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of trouble, I think. It's much easier. Dying for 6 months, just go if you're serious. Can you imagine where the people who give you medical aid own your home? They have the bond on your house. They've got all your accounts, so they can decide whether or not you're going to get the money or not. While you're lying being treated, they put an ATM next to the bed. You're lying there. You think you're getting the best medical treatment. You're coming out of surgery. Beep, 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 beep. You think you're on all the machinery, and it's not. They've got your PIN number. They're going into your account to get the last of your money. The beep, beep, beep. And then, of course, when there's nothing, when they press cancel, then you just hear the beep.
Yeah.
Gone. What did they say? Pelile.
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 Pelile impilo.
Pelile.
Impilo is life. So
Impilo.
Pelile impilo. Life is finished.
Impilo.
And it's just a straight line.
Yep, that's the sound of the last withdrawal. Beep. And it says no.
A lot of people were trying to wake us up. They were called conspiracy theorists at the time.
Yeah.
And the Pfizer side effects document came out.
Yes.
And nobody said nothing about it. Everybody
Not a word.
Shh. All the way till today.
Not a word. The North Guard, that gas thing in the pipeline to Russia. The what's it called? North Guard.
They blew it. The Americans blew it.
They did. They blew it up.
Yeah.
But Biden, before
Joe
they blew it
Biden.
up, Biden said no. The Russians have blown it up before they blew it up. Hello. So he obviously got an early memo, I think.
Yeah.
So he gave it out the bag. It was, terrifying.
Putin's coming. Do you think they will arrest him?
No, Putin won't come. No,
He is coming.
he won't. Really? He's part of the BRICS Bank. Yeah, he probably will, actually. No, nobody will arrest him. Nothing will happen. He's got like 1,300 people around him. 1,300 people. There's an entourage of like 7 kilometers. Yeah, he's still leaving a country before he's left it, after he's gone. There's still... No, he won't. Nothing will happen. But I don't think he will.
Same as nothing happened to Obama and George Bush and his father.
Nothing.
Nothing happened to them.
No, nor will
After
it.
Iraqi, after Gaddafi, Libya, nothing. Saddam Hussein, nothing.
No. Do you think we're headed for a war? Do you think there's a war coming?
I think we are right in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
I think we're right in the middle of a spiritual warfare.
So instead of getting 3 weeks of Kentucky, I think we're going to have to get a few months. A few months stock of Kentucky. Are you a Kentucky man? You don't eat meat. You're.
I do eat meat.
Do you? Are you
Yeah.
a meat eater?
Yeah.
So I read somewhere you're a vegan. No, you're a vegan.
I tried to be a vegan. I was in the US for quite some time. It wasn't easy. I
Right.
came back to South Africa. I became a South African again. Not that vegans are not South African, you know what I mean?
Yes. Because that's another thing we're doing now. The environment, where we're going green, where you can't eat anything. You can't eat anything that gives life. I was with someone the other night, and they were a setsungi. It's a setsungi. It's like a form of yogi, sort of veganism, where they don't eat anything that can give life. Nothing. So she ate a bowl of steam, which we managed to get. That was, and then she didn't want to eat the bowl of steam out of the bowl because it wasn't an artisanally handcrafted, natural, fibered bowl. So we got McDonald's. No, it's
Klaus Schwab says we will own nothing and be happy, and we will eat insects.
yes.
We already are eating insects.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of a shongololo, or have you ever heard of a masonja?
What's that? That's mapani worm.
Okay, so you do know mopani worms.
I haven't eaten mapani worm.
Very nice.
I've never eaten mapani worm. I've never eaten rabbit. Because in my head, it's like eating a cat, isn't it? Eating a rabbit.
No, I've never eaten a cat, but rabbit's nice. But I feel guilty eating a rabbit.
Yeah.
The most peaceful animal.
A rabbit.
Yeah,
Really?
I think so.
I've eaten snake.
Were you in China?
No, I was down in the Cape, funny enough, in George, where we ate cobra. The cobra. Down there it's called geelslang. It was cobra and jackal and porcupine. But I didn't eat them as one. It was actually a king's pie that you get at the pie shop. It was a pie like that. And I was eating it. I thought it was steak and kidney. I thought it was a steak and kidney pie.
Are you sure you're not in China?
No, not in China, no. China, they eat dogs. They eat dogs in China, apparently. I've never been to China. I don't know. I've just heard that. Have you been to China?
Yes, I used to sell clothes. I used to buy them in China and come sell them to celebrities in South Africa before I was in the industry.
Right. And
I used to go to Bangkok, Thailand. So
Yeah.
I used to see a lot of very weird animals that was just a norm to eat them.
yeah, I suppose it's a food source. I don't know about eating a dog. I suppose if you don't know what you're eating. Also, it's when you've got things in your head. So the insects that we eat, apparently they're very nutritious. Eating insects. I've accidentally eaten insects. I used to eat ants. I used to eat a lot of ants as a child. And I had solar-powered radio diode battery operated radio. And I could sometimes, if it didn't have a battery, if I'd eaten enough ants, I could put the wires to the radio on my tongue and I could get the news bulletin for about 4 or 5 minutes just on the charge of eating ants. Have you ever done that? Eaten ants?
No. Mistakenly, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mistakenly, one can. It's terrible when you have to eat through ants, even if you're eating something that you want to eat and there are ants on it. You've got to get them in with it. But they don't eat much. They don't eat much. So what's going to happen when the war starts? Who's going to be controlling it? Who's in charge of it? The war.
I don't know. I know that the Americans have been in charge of every other war ever since I've been alive.
Yeah. And I see a lot of stuff now, subliminal stuff that's appearing about communicating with the aliens. And do you get that? Does that pop up on your...
No, I just hear that they're going to fake an alien invasion.
Yes,
they call
that's
it
right.
Operation what?
That's right.
Blue Beam.
It's Operation Blue
Beam.
Blue Beam, and they're going to communicate with them, and they're going to tell us what we should be doing so that they won't kill us all and take away our Raya bus passes. They'll be creating their own an energy focus, and they're going to zap cities. They've got technology where they can zap cities, apparently. And are they aliens, or they're just inventing this?
I hear there's reptilians that were apparently living amongst already.
3 different tribes.
So I hear. Oh, you've heard?
Yeah. I think I know one that lives in Blair Gowrie.
And they shapeshift, right?
They shapeshift. And they can astral travel. And they can time travel. And I don't know how they communicate telepathically without talking, or they can sort of do signals, or I don't know. I have to wait to see it. I think we've had a lot of aliens for a long time. Well, we have. We've got them all over the place, haven't we? Got a lot in Yeovil. Got a lot in Windsor Park. Windsor Park's full of them. That's because it's near Home Affairs, I suppose. Would they go through, if aliens arrived here, where'd they get their paper? You wouldn't need papers, would you? You see, this is where the ridiculousness of it is where you have to laugh at it. You can't sit terrified. If you're scared, then they've won. The monster has won if they keep you scared.
So they feed off of fear.
They feed off of fear.
Draconians.
Fear feeds off fear. Fear kills. It's not the bomb that scares everyone. It's because the bomb going off is 20 seconds. Poof, that's it. Oh, windows have gone. Oh, we've got to get a new amp. It's the waiting for the bomb, the fear of the bomb. It's going to happen. It's like witchcraft. To practice witchcraft, you have to tell them that you're practicing witchcraft. It's called mind games.
So you have to get their consent.
No consent. You just say to people, listen, I just want to tell you that you better be careful. Next time you see the colour pink, just remember what you did. And then you think, oh, rubbish, blah, blah, blah. And then that night, they go home and they open the wardrobe, and for the first time ever, they realize inside the wardrobe is pink. And they take a T-shirt, and a pink sock falls out, which would have happened anyhow, you know what I mean? But because you said that, you've got the fear of terror. And eventually, when they die from fear in their bedroom, in front of the wardrobe, having strangled themselves with the pink sock, you think it works.
So how do they tell us? Through Hollywood movies? Predictive programming?
I think so. I think they sort of gear you up for, Independence Day was that was the biggie, wasn't it? Wasn't Independence Day the one where they...
I think it was Independence Day. And the one that has always been very good in predicting all of these events all the way to now has been The Simpsons.
Yes, because they predicted a lot of things in the future that still haven't happened yet. There are lots of things which are 9/11, Bill Clinton,
Donald Trump.
Twin Towers, crash of the dollar,
COVID-19,
COVID-19.
zombie apocalypse.
I thought I had an alien encounter about 6 months ago. Funny enough, I haven't spoken about this, but it was about 2 a.m. There was no moon, and there was load shedding, and I was coming back from Midrand, coming back from a casino out there. It was quite late, and we'd been having a little bit of a party, and we didn't want to take the highway because I didn't have enough money for a bribe for the Metro Police. So
I must give you some more fire, so you give him the real cold drink.
no, because then I get into a whole thing there, because then they think I've been drinking. They think it's a
Okay.
they think so. We took a back road, and there, going around the back road, this is in four ways. It was dark. Suddenly, there was this orange and yellow flashing light that just appeared out of nowhere.
William Nicol.
Got the front, no, just behind there.
Okay.
Almost an empty field. Down the back of Epsom Downs, Cedar Road. And we screeched to a halt. There was a car in front also stopped. It was a orange and red flashing light. Terrified. We just reversed and sped off. And as I look back, I don't want to say I saw a little flashing green man, but there was a whole lot of other lights that had come on. I was quite terrified. I phoned 702 news desk. I phoned the news desk to hear if they'd anyone, and they said no. So there was an incident that happened, an encounter. I think I had an encounter. So it was in four ways: back of William Nicol, down the. They said yes.
Witkoppen.
An orange and red flashing light. I said yes. It came right up to the car. They said yeah. A lot of people have phoned in about that. It is in fact a set of robots that work. And it's shocked a lot of people. They hadn't seen that, especially down Witkoppen Road, a set of robots that work. Normally, they're people doing triple somersaults with a crate. Because that always terrifies me when that happens. When you do stop at a robot, someone comes. That's when you're driving, as though you're not scared enough at home. When you hear noises in the middle of the night. Getting shot outside, hijacked in your driveway. You get out the house, you get through the gates, driving. When you stop at the robots, someone comes up to the car. There's always that moment, isn't it, where you don't know whether you're going to get, your windscreen cleaned, sold a nodding dog, a map of the world, or shot.
Or sold a more fire can. Or even shot.
Or sold a more fire can. Or shot. So you have an all-purpose expression, don't you? Yeah.
No, it's fine. Don't sleep.
Yeah, and it's and then because I got a fright. There was a guy with a huge thing under his arm came up to the car. I thought this is it, and I tensed. I thought if I tense enough, the bullet won't go through my head, and I didn't want to look. They say don't look. So I was like, and then he pulled this thing out from under his. It was a crate, and then he started doing triple backward somersaults. So I got such a as I drove off, I sort of opened the car door just to sort of give him some extra. It was just terrifying, isn't it? And the stuff they sell at the robots. I mean, how many cell phone chargers can you buy in the course of? They've got all the cell phone chargers. But they go for stuff you wouldn't think of buying, don't they? Nodding dogs, you've seen that? Inflatable dolphins, you get like a dolphin pumice stone. They've just gone for that niche, and I think I've seen these as well. They sell this. Mofire. They sell Mofire as well. It's just a niche item you wouldn't think of buying, and their fingers on the pulse with new stuff to sell. Bunny ear TV aerials. Maps of the world, yeah. And the other day, I see they now sell blind people. Have you seen that? You can get blind people.
No, they use blind people for your sympathy.
Oh, is that for sympathy? Oh,
so you feel bad. And some of them, it's sad. They even use their children.
I've seen that. There's an agency where they can go and get them, where you can go and get whatever you want for them. You can go and get a blind person or a baby or child to get the sympathy vote at the traffic lights. It's all a bit of a worry, isn't it? So and some of the blind people aren't blind. It's just done for.
Yeah, and some of the disabled ones aren't really disabled. When they knock off, they just make sure nobody's looking and they just walk properly.
Seriously.
There's some that I know, I just
Oh
sort of
yes, no, I've heard
walk
about this.
properly, I'll give it to you. Don't worry, nobody else is just walk properly. Brasbu, okay, again. Then I just give them. I'm like, okay, sharp. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, you see, that's the tricky one, because sometimes when you do that, all the people I've known who have parked in disabled parking with a disabled sticker in the windscreen, and they're not really disabled, but they park in disabled because they've got the sticker. Most of the people that I know have done that have ended up being disabled. So, warning there.
Manifesting it.
Manifesting it.
Respect the disabled parking. Have you parked in a disabled parking? Clearly you haven't.
No.
You're still okay.
No. No.
You probably have. All the stuff that you say. Never mind.
No. No, I haven't. I promise you I haven't. No, once, only one. No, I would never. A few times. No, I would never do it. But I was looking after a visually impaired man for a few years who ended up coming to live with me. We'd been business partners, and his eyesight started going, and he became visually impaired. You can't say blind. That's another word. You can't say blind. Visually impaired. And we had all sorts of benefits which you can get for the blind. Blind people are allowed to park in disabled parking. I just don't know how they get there. You see, we do laugh because of fear. Fear creates laughter, I think. So the laugh is a release of going through all the monsters, through AI, through Twitter collapsing, through the threat of World War III, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the dollar's going. We won't have the dollar anymore. The dollar's going to end. Now we've got the BRICS bank.
What do you think of the social credit system in China? That's coming. We've aligned ourselves with BRICS. What do you think?
But are we still aligned with BRICS? Because what Ramaphosa yesterday said that Putin will be welcome, or he won't be welcome. We're with the ICC, but we're not. But we're in there, but not properly. But we are. I don't know if that's the way to go. I don't know if it's a good thing. I've never been to China. Apparently everything works in China. Everything works. And if it doesn't, they kill you. Or you just disappear in a truck. The truck comes and fetches you and takes you to a happy place. Is that true?
To a quarantine camp. They call them, what do they call them in America?
Reorientation. A reorientation camp. That's always a worry.
FEMA camps in America, that's what they call them.
That's where you go for reorientation.
In China, you get picked up by people wearing protective white PPE suits.
Beekeepers.
Similar outfits, and they just put you in a truck. They just drive you away into some quarantine camp.
Right. And you never come back.
Everything works, though, in China.
Apparently.
Facial recognition cameras are they can grab you coming all the way from Braamfontein.
Really?
You lose points for each and every little thing that you do that is not aligned with being a good citizen. Right. You lose points. That's coming here.
Yeah, I think so.
In a few years, might take longer.
I don't know. But all the cameras that they have, whenever there is an armed robbery, I have yet to see one camera where you can actually see the robbers or the attackers in the bank or in the jewelry store. It's always a blurred picture. It looks like the Loch Ness Monster, where they've got this sort of blurred figure that's sort of got a peak cap on and a mask, and it's sort of, you don't know whether it's a child or an old fat man or woman, or you have no recognition of who it is at all. You think they would have got that a bit better than what we've got it. The Chinese one, it works on chromosome, doesn't it? Doesn't it work on chromosome or your DNA? It can actually see the DNA or the chromosome makeup of your body. It doesn't actually go on features. It's like eye features. When your eye has 9,788 things that can look terrifying. But one piece of bubble gum could just eradicate all that if you put it over the camera. Then we won't be able to see it. Or if the camera goes missing, it's like all the solar panels and all the inverters and solar backup that we get now. That needs protecting because all of that disappears when you put it out to get your solar paneling to drive the cameras. When that's gone and there's load shedding, the camera doesn't work. So,
But trust me, the electricity will be working at the time as soon as that gets here.
I think so.
Electricity not working, I think, is a temporary problem that we have.
Yeah.
Do you think it's intentionally
Yes, completely.
frustrating us?
Yes, completely.
So Cyril can sell the SOEs?
It's also control. It's a control thing. And his brother-in-law, when they, if you think who sits around that table, Cyril and his wife are worth what, 17, 20 billion. The brother-in-law, his wife's brother, the Motsepe family, Jeff Khadebi, is married to Motsepe. There's 7 Motsepe relatives all married into Parliament that control over something like 150 billion. I don't know if it's rand or dollars worth of business. And I wonder what they talk about at dinner when they all sit down. Do they know there's load shedding? Do they know that in some places they haven't had running water for like 3 weeks? When they do get water, it's for an hour every 4 days. Do you think that is it?
I don't think it affects them.
No, it doesn't. No.
I don't even think load shedding affects them.
No. And
Does it affect you?
I don't let it affect me. I don't let things that should affect me, which sounds a very smug thing to say. But if you make it an issue and we can't this and we won't have that. My thing is when you get there, you'll see what's happened because we're great innovators and the human being is a great innovator and a great. We can do. Oh look, we can eat this. There's no food, but let's see if we can eat this. Hessian. We can eat edible flip flop, edible Crocs. Maybe that's something we can go. We can go that way or edible. I don't know. The inventiveness. I'm very angry that there's a town in the Free State where they've got enough solar paneling and enough wind energy to go off the grid, and Eskom sued them and said they're not allowed to do it. They can't do that. I don't understand the logic or the mentality behind that. I don't know why there hasn't been a revolution about that yet.
The logic takes you back to the dinner table you were just about to talk about.
There we go. It would be very interesting. And he doesn't do questions and answers, does he?
No.
And never has done.
The last time that happened, I was with the former president, Jacob Zuma. I've never seen our president taking questions from anybody.
Not ever.
I've never seen him.
Unbelievable. How does he get away with that? How does that...
Because he's friends with some good people.
Yes, some very, very and very secret handshakes I went to a whiskey thing once. There was a whiskey tasting, and he was there. He appeared. I sat at the table with him. In fact, with Cyril, he was in a kilt. He was in a kilt,
An Irish kilt.
Scots kilt.
Or Scottish kilt.
Yeah, Scottish kilt. And he's got an order. Got an order of the whiskey makers. He had the full Scottish regalia on, and it's a whiskey club where they drink really. And we had quite a merry chat. I've met him quite a few times. We've never really had a chat. And funny enough, he had, I think, a Scotch whiskey named after him. I don't know if it was the clan name or I must find out about that. It's probably a secret Masonic order that he's part of. Also the Illuminati, the 666 people.
But I've seen a picture with Madiba as well, dressed in the Illuminati regalia.
Really?
It's out there in the public. You can Google it, yeah.
Didn't know that. Good grief. Really? I wonder which lodge he was with. Wonder who they would have been.
I wonder also.
There we go.
But isn't it the Illuminati, are they illuminated?
I think so. There's lots of hand signals you give if you're ever doing a broadcast and you want to get it out there. Apparently, the way you hold your tie and triangles and you do
The signs.
Do you know the signs?
I hear. I don't know.
Yeah. I've been doing a few just to see if anyone calls while we're on now to wonder why I'm here doing this podcast. And I think isn't that one of them? That's
So I hear the secret eye.
no, and that apparently, that Elon Musk's mother was doing it. Yeah, that's the one. That's must not do this at all.
We must not do this. Yeah.
No.
I don't
It's
even
all
know what it
rubbish.
means. Yeah.
It's all rubbish. But you see, it's all what goes into the magpie nest, isn't it? That we have to worry about. We worry about electricity, politics, revolution, viruses, how we're going to die, and non-stop social media telling us what we should and shouldn't do. So laughter is a very good deterrent to it. Because if you laugh at it, it's the best free medicine, I think, that anyone could give themselves when you laugh. Do you know that? It's a proven medical condition by having a good laugh. People say a good laugh. I don't know what a bad laugh is, but a good laugh, your body goes into a different mindset, produces endocannabinoids, endorphins, muscles wouldn't go normally, get relaxed, intercostal diaphragm, your intercostal diaphragm, the sternal xiphylidal phalange go during a good laugh. And that's the best free medicine you can get, by laughing, I think. The biggest laugh you've ever had in your life was at? Can you remember the most you've ever laughed at anything?
I think it was at his Kumba show.
Seriously? He kicks the ball out the park, hey?
It's too incredible.
When he comes in and it's just...
Kumba and Mashabela are my two favorite comedians.
Non-stop. Fantastic. And he's got the vernac, he's got the lingo, the mannerism, and he's very fun. He's just a funny man. You know, if he came on stage and just read the telephone directory, he'd bring the house down. Without he has funny bones. He's just naturally very funny, and that's half the battle as well.
We come from the same township, so I relate with him better.
Yes,
I understand everything he says.
yeah. Where's he from? He's from
Tembisa.
Is he Tembisa? And he plays to like
National audiences.
3,000-4,000 people in a huge amphitheater in tents, all ages, all sexes.
What do you mean intense?
No, I've seen him. He's got a touring tent. Hasn't he got a touring tent? He's got like a big circus tent. He's got like a...
Oh, okay. Marquee.
Marquee. Marquee. What is that in Zulu? A marquee.
Maybe because me in my mind, when I hear a tent, I'm just thinking of the tents we used to use in the township for like funerals and those types of tents.
Marquee. But no, but you get tents. You get very, very posh tents these days.
Yeah. Posh marquees you get. Yeah.
Very posh. Oh, very. Some with air conditioning and sort of. But it's like huge circus tents. I think it's the old Boswell Wilkie circus tent.
Yeah, you remember Boswell Wilkie circuses?
Oh,
I don't see those no more.
No, don't have them anymore.
2000s are missing out.
No, don't have them. People don't go to circuses. They're too scared. I was always scared in a circus. I never liked circuses. A man went to a doctor and he said, I feel like a wigwam. He said, a wigwam? He said, I just feel that's like I've got a wigwam. And I said, that's very odd. And then about a week later, he went back to the doctor and he said, I feel like a marquee. Doctor said, a marquee? Last week you felt like a wigwam. He said, you know what your trouble is? You're too tense. You're too tense. No? I'm telling jokes, people. I'm sorry. It is Friday afternoon. And I've just come back from reunion. Sorry, I was in reunion.
Oh, Mark Banks!
And this is my first outing here. We're in a room in the Newtown Junction precinct, which I can't tell you where it is. It's actually a holding cell. please, if you're seeing this, please dial the number on your screen now. I've had nothing to eat, and I've been here for 2 weeks. And I'm telling jokes. Frightening. How do you see the immediate future coming here? Are we just going to carry on bumbling along the way we are, just as everything closes down?
Yeah.
We go, oh, there's no more trains. Oh, the airline's closed.
While we're being distracted about
Post office is
Thabo
closed.
Bester.
While being distracted by Thabo Bester. Yeah.
And is it intentional by the media for us
Yes.
to focus there while
Yes.
they're busy doing their thing behind the scenes?
Well, that's the art of the magician. While the magician's doing his magic, he's showing you that, and you're looking to see how he got his hand into the rabbit's head. All the rest is going on here. So the art of distraction is how I think the magician works. So keep you distracted, looking at that and Muvhango and what's going to happen in the next prison cell outbreak, how that's going to end. So you're looking at that and all the other stuff that's going on is just
The real prisoner outbreak is happening behind the scenes.
huge. Absolutely huge. And the aliens are coming in through the new runway that some sheikh from Saudi Arabia or the
Which runway?
UAE,
The one at the
Bishu.
Waterkloof or the one in Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's in Bishu. They just had it retard, and he now flies his jet in now with 400 guests to go to his private game.
No, but we didn't have anything with retarring it. He did with his own money.
Oh, did he do it with his own money? Oh. Well, apparently they do canned aliens. Like do canned lions where you go shooting. They've got aliens that you can shoot. I've just heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. And he paid for all of that. That's wonderful. Why? Why couldn't he fly in through Port Elizabeth? Gqeberha. Or East London. Gqeberha. Or George. Why couldn't he fly in through George? It's 2 hours away. Why has he got to have his own runway? So we're redoing Waterkloof again with the Guptas.
But nobody has a problem with it this time. Like nobody cares. We only care when it's Msholozi
We only care when it's on Shalozi.
in leadership.
And Pala Pala, that's all gone by the wayside.
No, we've moved on from there.
Have we?
It's
That's-
just trended for a month or two. We've moved on.
How much is in the couch?
I think it was, they say, $4 million US.
$4 million.
That's what they say. I don't
That's
know.
80 million rand.
Almost, I think, as they say.
And it was found in the vacuum cleaner, in the what they call the crevice nozzle. The bag was full. I had to empty the bag. But he's selling it now. He's selling
The farm, right?
the farm. But then it was sold, but he never owned it. I don't know. Don't know what happened. What are the sheep? The cattle, Ankuli. The ones with the big horns.
The buffaloes. Buffalo. No.
No, that's him. That's him.
The cattle, I don't know what they're called.
Ankuli.
They're very expensive,
Yes.
apparently.
Ankuli.
Ankuli is what they're called.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got the very big horns that come up. You can walk with them. You can do indoor gymming with them. And you get Mnet for free if it faces east in the right direction of the approaching jet from the United Arab Emirates. Apparently. Don't know.
Any upcoming shows?
We've got a show coming up.
Oh, Mark Banks.
We've got it. I've got 3 months left, so this is probably going to be one of my last shows.
Are you retiring?
No, I'm dying.
Ah,
I'm
come
dying.
on, don't say that.
No, I'm dying.
You're not. No, you're not.
I'm dying.
No,
What's
you're not.
today's date? I've
no,
got
you're
3
not.
months.
No, you're not.
I've got 3 months.
No, you're going to live long.
That's what my doctor told me. I said, well, I won't be able to pay you for all the treatment I've had. He said, all right, I'll give you 6 months. It's on. Seriously. It's on. No, you heard it here. You'll be able to show this when I've gone. It's on the 27th of May. We're at Emperor's Palace. It's a lineup. It's called the Kings and Queens of Comedy. Blue Blood are the presenters of it. Blue Blood. Kings and Queens of Comedy. 10 comedians. And it's a very happy mix of comedians, all sexes, all races, all ages, all sizes. We've got Mark Lottering, Riyad Musa, Conrad Koch, Darren Wackhead Simpson. They found him.
You got all the big names.
Yeah, and there's quite a few others. There's 10 altogether on the lineup. Empress Palace, May the 27th, Kings and Queens of Comedy.
That's a day before my birthday.
Is it?
Blue Blood have been at it. And
So
shout
you're
out to Blue
28.
Blood.
You're
28th May.
You're
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah.
That's right. I told you the other day you're Gemini.
I don't know how you knew it.
No. Do you remember that? I
Yeah,
don't know. Just
last
picked
week.
up. Because I'm slightly psychic, but my psychic that I can predict the past. Because I'm a dyslexic medium, so I can't see forward. I can only predict what has happened, and I'm usually spot on.
And how do we buy the tickets?
Tickets are web tickets, or on the booking line, Kings and Queens of Comedy on the web page, Kings and Queens Comedy, May the 27th. And there are no complimentary tickets. There are no free tickets.
So the guys at Blue Bloods were the first people to embrace us and collaborate with my energy drink, More Fire.
Were they?
From when it started, yeah, back in the day.
Oh, fantastic.
Nobody wanted to touch us.
Why not?
It was a controversial drink at the time. Seemed controversial.
Do they know what's in it?
I think now they do, but at the time they didn't. It's just, questioning. It's just a lot of people just did not want to associate with us. But
Really?
the Blue Blood guys did, and I'll never forget that. And I
Oh,
appreciate
thank you.
guys.
Then that's why they've sent me. Is that why I'm here?
I don't know.
So you didn't phone and say, I want to speak to Mark Bank. So this is a whole fire, Blue
No.
Blood,
No, not now.
Osmond thing.
I'm
So it's just
saying-
because they did your drink.
No, they were one of the earliest people to
thank
show me love. Come on, Mr. Banks, don't go. We're about to wrap it up. It's okay.
Sorry.
Let's
I'm
end
joking.
it.
I'm
Okay.
only joking. So the Osmonds.
Yes, I just want to appreciate the Osmonds. They've done a great job in
Hang on, I'm losing my.
in showing us love in the beginning. You never forget those who were there for you when nobody was there.
Isn't
for you.
that amazing? One always remembers kindness, hey?
They probably have forgotten. I was just reminding them. Never forget those people.
There we go. Gratitude there from DJ Spoo to the Osmonds of Blue Blood. Let us pray. No.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
legendary South African comedian Mark Banks, one of the greatest to ever do it. He's been at it for 3 decades?
Oh, something like that. Yeah. And 3 months left. He has 3 months left to live.
But before-
So get Mafia now, and it is on sale, and it comes and I love this Mafia subliminal. I love the studio here. This is fantastic. You know that this has grown a foot. I don't know if any of the viewers have watched, but this has grown a foot since we started.
No, I'm a tree hugger.
Is it?
I hug trees.
Fantastic. That's probably why. And more fire.
Yeah.
And thanks to Blue Blood. And it's Kings and Queens of Comedy, Empress Palace, May the 27th.
I love
Probably,
you, and
probably my last appearance ever.
I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
You too.
Thank you for the love. Thank you for the incredible work you've done in the comedy culture in the country. People like you are pioneers, but it's all, I was just telling the young guys, the crew.
Yes.
I was like, from back in the day, if only you guys knew how big he was at some point. Because they wouldn't know,
Yes.
they're younger,
Yeah.
so it's always
Very
nice
young.
to-
Very, very young. With a little bit of attitude.
Did you guys give Mr. Banks an attitude?
No, just sort
Did
of,
they?
no, not at all. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay,
rubbish. No.
okay.
But no, yeah, but everything's getting younger and younger, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just too funny. So, and it's the day before your birthday, so maybe if you do come on the 27th, we might have a little birthday surprise.
I'm coming.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Really?
I'm coming.
Well, we'll see. But there'll be a cake. I'll make sure there'll be a cake.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. I'll organise a cake, and if you don't come and get it, then I can get the cake. The 28th.
28th is
of
the
May.
birthday.
DJ Spoo's birthday. The
So I'll wait
celebrations will be
until
starting at midnight.
the last comedian is on stage until midnight, and then I know it's birthday time.
Yeah, I think the last comedian will probably be Conrad Koch and his puppet.
Yeah, the ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist. Ventriloquist. Do we have a black ventriloquist? We've got Chick LJ Aljoy, Chick Aljoy.
I haven't seen any, eh? We don't, né? And there is a space.
Yes,
There's an opportunity.
yes. There's a lot of youngsters coming up who've got new stuff which they do. They do like talking toilet seats, and it's great. They've got all sorts of wonderful new stuff, and they're fearless. They're out there doing it, and they do their own gigs. They organise their own lineups and things all over the place. It's fantastic.
It's amazing
Really,
to
really
see
is.
how big comedy has become in South Africa.
Yep.
I think back in the earliest days, I know we're wrapping up. For me, I was introduced to comedy from the days of there used to be a show called the Pure Monati Show. I don't know if you remember it.
David Cow.
Kagisolodiga,
Kechi Solidiga.
Ronnie Madimole.
Ronnie Modimola. Chris Forrest.
Yep.
There's one for the collectors. Yeah, I did a TV thing a few years ago. It's called It's Okay, We're Family. I played David Cow's father. And it was a thing where it was a bit like the Kumars at 42, where he was at home and he was like trying to get a chat show going. So he had all these guests, he had all these people coming, rappers and DJs, and I don't know why they didn't ask you to come and do it. I must find out what happened there. All these people coming and going, and I was his father. And what amazed me, nobody said a word. Nobody said anything.
It seemed normal.
Yeah, nobody said a word. Not one person said, but hang on, you're there, and David said, no, this is my father. And nobody said a word.
They just assumed he's probably mixed race.
I don't know. I didn't want to go into it. I didn't tell anyone that I was of my skin condition. And they must have just picked up on it. Because people do that, don't they? They pick up on things without telling them. Sometimes you don't have to tell people things. They know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Banks. Your last words to South Africans, you can speak to them on the camera or over there on that one.
All the best. Keep the face. And bear in mind at all times that no matter how rich or poor you may be, no matter how tall or short, no matter how fat or thin, no matter what the colour of your skin, your religion, or your religious beliefs may be, bear in mind at all times that the number of people that will be present at your funeral in attendance in numbers will always be dependent on the weather.